Tov Umavarach. Today is the 30th day of Chodesh Shvat, final day of Chodesh Shvat, which means that it is Rosh Chodesh Adar, and Be'ez Hashem, looking forward to a beautiful month of Simcha coming up ahead. We are holding at the bottom of Daf Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, going on to our Amud for today, which is Kuf Zayin Amud Beis, and we are continuing with the next line of, or the next phrase of the Mishnah. The Mishnah told us, Erev Pesachim Samach LeMincha, a person is not allowed to begin their meal, or is not allowed to be eating. We'll see a little bit of a difference between those, and we've already discussed the Machlokes Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda with regards to that. But the Gemara is now going to question what exactly Samach LeMincha means. Says the Gemara as follows: they asked the following question. We are two lines from the bottom of Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph. They asked the following question: Samach LeMincha Gedola Tana, Samach LeMincha Tana. Which mincha are we talking about here? Mincha Gedola is the earliest time for mincha. That is a half hour after midday, meaning 12:30 on a 6 to 6 day. Mincha Gedana, which would be from the end of the 9th hour of the day, meaning from 3 p.m. So we're talking from 12:30 or from 3 p.m. At what point in time would it be also for a person to begin eating, or to have their meal? Says the Gemara as follows: Tanan, we learned in a brayz Samach LeMincha Gedola Tanan. So Samach LeMincha Gedola. So Samach LeMincha Gedola Tanan. Umishum Pesach. What's the rationale? Maybe the Isser is Samach LeMincha Gedola, that from Mincha Gedola time you are not allowed to eat a meal. Why? Dilma Asil Mimshach. Maybe you're going to schlep out your meal. You're going to keep eating 10 on to Kuf Zayin Beis. Va'asil li'im nui mi lemevet pischa. And you will end up holding yourself back, preventing yourself from ending up bringing a Korban Pesach. Meaning, the concern is that you're not going to bring a Korban Pesach. Rashi points out here, but Teisha shows. The Tosfos here. V'atil menuim b'Pesach, the top Tosfos on the page. V'afilu achar sheyasa Pesach also. But and even after you bring the Pesach, it would be also. Why? Kedei shelo yimar le'echol v'yaseh Pesach shelo karoi. Because you're going to end up rushing through your meal, then you're not going to bring Korban Pesach appropriately. Meaning, we're canceling your whole schedule. That's how the Tosfos understands this. Meaning, we're clearing a schedule so that the whole afternoon is dedicated exclusively to Korban Pesach. For most of us, once Erev Pesach, Samach LeMincha arrives, meaning Erev Pesach afternoon, that is when there is a calm a little bit that settles over. Meaning you've already bought your matzahs, and you've already set the table, and you've already taken. What else is that you've checked for the house for chametz? You've cleaned everything. Meaning things start to calm down just before in the hours before Pesach. In the days of the Beis Hamikdash, that was the craziest time of the year. That was everybody was rushing around with their Korban Pesach and making sure that it was all set up and figuring out where they were going to be. That was a wild time of year. So don't have a meal. Now you were not having any lunch dates because you don't want to end up missing a Korban Pesach. Or alternatively, that what the Mishnah is telling us is that you have to not have a meal, meaning in the night of the day. Why? Mishum matzah. And the concern is because of matzah. What's the concern of matzah? Because maybe you're going to end up eating your matzah achil gasa. You're going to be so full that you're not going to be able to eat your matzah on Leil Seder, except if it would be an achil gasa. The Tosfos here deals with the question, ve'ina achila. And if you would eat it with achil gasa, it's not called achila. Like we said at the end of Maseches Yomi, potter. That somebody that eats achila gasa on Yom Kippur is potter. And then the Gemara asks the question. The Tosfos asks the question that it seems to be that there are two different kinds of achila gasa, and that's how the Tosfos explains. There's an achila gasa which is not even an achila, and then there's achila gasa where you're like uncomfortable, but you're going to eat a little bit more. Okay, says the Gemara as follows. Amar Ravina, let's try to resolve the question. Is it Mincha Gedola, Mincha Gedana? Is it about Pesach or is it about Matzah? Amar Ravina says, Tashma, come along in here. We have a brayso that says the following. I feel like Agrippas HaMelech, Agrippas the king, even him. Agrippas was the king in the days of the Chashmonaim, who the Chacham liked. He was not a bad guy. I feel like Agrippas HaMelech, Shu Ragi Le'echel B'Teisha Shos, he would normatively eat in the 9th hour of the day, meaning in the 9th hour, his meal was 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. He shouldn't eat until nightfall, meaning until it gets dark. He should cancel his lunch. So let's understand Ravina's diuk here. If you want to tell me that this is close to mincha ketana, that's what we are talking about, samach lemincha ketana, that makes sense. Hainu revusa de Agrippas. That's why we say afilo Agrippas hamelach, even Agrippas, meaning that even Agrippas hamelach shouldn't be eating because the concern is a concern of mincha ketana. That would be the concern. But if you're going to tell me that nobody can eat lunch at all, meaning from 12:30 in the afternoon onwards, why are we even talking about Agrippas? Agrippas is irrelevant to the story. The fact that he has a meal at the 9th hour of the day. He's already also just like everyone else. It must be that we're talking about the later mincha, meaning 3 p.m. and not 12:30. Says the Gemara, well, hold up a second. Soif marivus de Agrippas. Well, okay, but then what's the big deal about talking about it? Even if you're going to say that the mission is talking about mincha ketana, so what's the big deal about Agrippas? Hamatia le isman isura. It's already going to be aser, meaning the 9th hour of the day. It's always, is by the 9th hour of the day, the isur is going to apply to him as well. So why are we saying even Agrippas hamelach shouldn't have his meal? Says the Gemara, what would you have thought? Tesha shas la Agrippas, that 9 hours into the day for Agrippas is ka'arba shas didan dami. That the 9th hour of the day for Agrippas is like the 4th hour of the day, which is the normal time of eating one's meal. Meaning most people would eat their first meal of the day at the 4th hour of the day. And Agrippas eats his at the 9th hour of the day. And you might have thought that Agrippas, who has a very late breakfast, meaning his breakfast is lunch, and then he eats dinner, that for him, he should be allowed to. He should be allowed to because he eats 2 meals late, one in the late afternoon, one in the mid-afternoon, one in the evening. So he should be allowed to because his digestive system works, is trained to be different. So Kamash Malan, that's not the case. That even Agrippas hamelach is not allowed to eat after Mincha Ketana on Erev Pesach because we're worried about, it would seem pashtus, we're worried about his ability to eat the matzah bete oven later on. And we'll see at the end of the Amud important considerations. Well, now already and then a little later, important considerations with regards to your appetite. So what do you eat on Erev Pesach? So Erev Pesach, Pesach afternoon, this is normatively, this is the crisis time of what to snack on in the house because you can't eat matzah because you have to eat the matzah l'te'aven later on. And you cannot have chametz because there's no chametz in the house. And you can't snack on anything else because that's for the Seder. And nobody wants to break into the Pesach snacks already because they're so expensive. Keep them for Pesach. So what are you supposed to eat? Amar Rabbi Yosi says, Rabbi Yosi aval matbil hu b'mini targima. You can dip different kinds of snacks. Meaning you can have some celery and some dips and have vegetables. Rabbi Yitzchak matbil b'yarki, and we see Rabbi Yitzchak would dip some vegetables. He would have, I suppose, Rabbi Yitzchak was Fardi. He would have some carrots and hummus, whatever it was. So it was thought like this in the Brisa as well. Hashamash matbil bibnei me'ayin. The shamash can snack on the little bits from the inside of the animal. And give them to the guests, meaning a little bit, the little bits, the burnt ends. Rashi points out, Rashi who last says can't, meaning the little bits and pieces that the shamash would snack on, he's allowed to snack on while he's serving the meal. That from mincha time onwards, the whole also, since he's busy with all of this, mitzarle, you could tell him you're not allowed to snack on anything while you're cooking, you're preparing for Yantav. That's not nice. Rashi says, if he doesn't snack on it, it's going to cause him pain, and if he does snack on it, it's not going to fill up. It's a little bit of this and that. So even though there's no proof that I have for this din, that's how the Brisa says that there's no proof for this din. We have a remiss to this. The pasuk in Yirmiyahu that says, "Nira lachem, nira, plow the ground, break up the ground for you. Va'al tisru el kotzim, and don't appropriate snack. And that's the way that the Rashbam says, "Al yidei charishim mekabelas hazriya," that through plowing, the sowing of the seeds will be accepted. And then the Gemara tells us something that we do not practice today, which is Rava would drink wine all of Erev Pesach. He would be drinking wine all of Erev Pesach. We do not drink wine Erev Pesach. But why? So that he would whet his appetite, he would become hungry, and he'd be able to eat more matzah at night, because the eating of matzah is the Chasam Sofer points out, the eating of matzah bisman hazeh is our final opportunity, meaning outside of the Beis Hamikdash bisman hazeh, to eat something midin da'araisa, that you have a chiyuv to eat an item at a particular time on a level of da'araisa. In the days of the Beis Hamikdash, we would do this with korbanos all the time, but without the Beis Hamikdash, we have the mitzvah of matzah. It's the only time that we have a chiyuv to eat something mid da'araisa. So Amar Rava says, Mina Amina La the Chamra Migari. Rava says, how do I know that wine is going to draw out your appetite, is going to make you hungry? Ditnan, because we learned in the Mishnah, telling over to Kuf Ches Amud Aleph, and this is going to be our first reference in the Gemara to Arba Kosher Shel Yain. We mentioned it briefly in the Mishnah, but our first din that we're going to see with relating to the 4 cups of wine that you drink on Leil Seder, says between these cups, if you want to drink, yishte, meaning that's between the first cup and the second cup. If you want to drink more wine, you are allowed to drink more wine. But between the third cup and the fourth cup, lo yishte, you are not allowed to drink more wine. V'i amar, this is Rava's proof. V'i amar, and if you were to tell me that drinking wine, satiates you, fills you up, then how come you are allowed to drink wine between the first cup and the second cup? You made kiddush, and then throughout Magid, you're gonna saying over the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, you're gonna be drinking more wine. You're gonna fill yourself up. You're not going to be able to eat matzah with an appetite, because matzah you haven't eaten yet. You haven't. We only said kaddish, urchatz, karpas, so yachatz, and then Magid is we're telling the whole story. We haven't got into matzah yet. So you're going to end up eating matzah. You're going to be stuffed already. You're not going to be able to eat the matzah. Elishmamina says Rava. Rather, we hear from here, migragari, that drinking wine draws out your appetite. We will continue with this din and with this discussion tomorrow. Wishing everybody a chodesh tov and mavarich, and we'll see you later.